Remember how in past episodes we've been discussing the digital marketing funnel that is focused on conversion and that actually starting from the AIDA model that we already know, that model where we simply look at the relationship between a brand and its customers through 4 stages: awareness, interest, desire, and action. In e-commerce, we look at this conversion funnel. We first of all call it conversion funnel, and we generally split it into 3 different stages. We have the generating interest stage, the activating audience stage, and the conversion stage. What we are going to discuss today is how we could evolve from this conversion funnel to the conversion marketing relationship pipeline. But before we dive deeper into this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest news and the latest tips and tricks and best practices that we've discovered, and to always share information and ask questions, as I've seen a lot of you have started to do. Coming back to the conversion funnel, you know how we have these 3 main stages. No matter how you divide the funnel into how many stages, the principle is the same. You model the relationship between the audience and the brand. And the main assumption here is that you have a wide audience that goes through this funnel. The users that become interested in your brand go to the first stage, to the upper stage. Those who advance and get more engaged with your brand advance to the next stage in the funnel, the activating the audience stage. And those who decide to buy from you definitely go at the end of the day to the conversion stage. Okay, so we have these stages. The problem that we usually see with this model is that some of the users are lost actually, right? Because from the first stage to the second, and from the second stage onto the third, there are some users that simply are lost along the way. The assumption here is that they will get into the funnel later on, and they will advance through it at some certain point in time. But I think that here, if we look at things this way from the funnel point of view, we are actually losing our relationship and our contact with certain customers. So maybe it is better to start looking at things from a relationship pipeline lens. What I understand through that is that you actually move things from the vertical to the horizontal, as you can see here, and we think of this funnel from each customer point of view, from each individual's point of view. And you have the same stages. You go from generating the interest of a certain buyer persona to engaging them, activating them, and then you go later on onto the conversion. So the principle is the same, but what you are looking at is not the number of customers that go through the funnel and that get closer to you. You are no longer looking at numbers, you are now looking at individual relationships with each of the customers. And if you see here in this model that I'm using, we are actually having different lengths in these pipelines, because of course for some customer the length between the generating of interest and the conversion is longer than for another customer. So the length of this pipeline could differ from a very short pipeline to a longer one, but the principle is the same. The customer stays there in contact with you, even though the relationship sometimes is colder and we are at a starting point, or we've gotten to a warmer point of interest and we are closer to the conversion. What we lose when we look at things from the first point of view, from that of the funnel, the problem is that we are more and more focusing on the final conversion. That is actually the right side of the pipeline or the lower part of the funnel. What we are chasing there is customers. And what happens when we are chasing customers is that usually we get the safe targets, we get the low-hanging fruits, the users that already know us, that belong to the warmer audience and that already know that they want to buy from us. And we are actually spending budgets into retargeting them and re-engaging them instead of looking at spending money in the relationship with each of our customers. And this is what we are trying to solve through this multi-touch marketing blueprint that we are using. But no matter what model you are deciding to use, the important thing is to try to look at the relationship between your brand and each customer. And of course, it would be much too difficult to look at it from an individual point of view, but at least we could look at clusters. And this is where the buyer persona profile helps a lot. We could have the buyer persona profile number 1 cluster, the buyer persona profile number 2 cluster, and we could look at them as cohorts, for example, in analytics. And we could see where exactly we are in the relationship with each of these cohorts, with each of these clusters. And we could see that this relationship doesn't need to evolve quickly, we just need to know where we are, and we need to adapt our message and channels and spendings according to this stage of the relationship.